Hey everyone, Nate the Nerdarch here from Nerdarchy for nerds by nerds. And today we're going to be talking about consequences. It's a GM 901, by the way, and it's consequences and benefits of failing side quests or succeeding at them. And with me, I have.
I'm Ted.
And I'm Dave.
So from what I get, is there any point to doing any quest? It's kind of what I got from the motivation.
Who gave us we also should probably mention who gave us the request. Spencer Cox.
Yes. And he was
not to be confused with Spencer Cox Cock out there. Just in case you're wondering.
You had to say it. So basically,
Ryan's not here.
Spencer's having this problem where his players, will succeed on some quests, fail on others, and the way he's running, everything is producing the same results. So the players are getting the feel that
that's not what I read from it at all. Is that what you read, Nate?
That's the way I interpret it.
I felt like he wanted suggestions on
how to make it not feel like that.
How to make it not feel like that.
Yeah. Well, my apologies for misinterpreting. So when players fail at especially on a side quest, like there's got to be some kind of consequence. There's got to be some kind of what happens based on that. I
have one in my game right now. The players decided to go a particular way into the mountains, and they aggravated a whole bunch of goblins. So an entire horde of goblins are coming down the mountain to the nearest town.
What's the problem? That sounds like a good Friday night to me.
So they're mobilizing a whole bunch of different groups. They happen to actually mobilize everyone I've given to them, even the not obvious ones. So everybody in the area that can get there within the day required, it seems to be getting there. They're on their last side quest.
Are you gonna have a war?
Yeah. So they're the goblins. Well, I mean, if they didn't do anything extra, most likely the characters would either decide that it was they were have to give up on the town and it was going to be destroyed, or they were going to have to get enough forces to bear against this against the opponent to basically gather all the different parts of the field.
Yeah, how did they play that out? Like we're like, I don't know, there's these goblins are really angry. We have no idea why.
95% of the people that they've interacted with don't know that they're the ones that kicked the hornet's nest. They were up in the mountains and they saw this, is how they say it.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, technically you're not lying. You definitely were still up in the mountains when you saw the horde coming with all the torches.
Yeah.
So right now they're on their last side quest for a group of scions to fix their problem at their tower. And that's what the thing is. We can't leave the tower because of something.
We can't help you until the flux capacitor has been replaced.
Exactly. Sorry. That kind of thing. They need their stuff before they can leave the tower. So they're having their own crisis.
So essentially their initial failure kicked off all these other successes and is redefining the actual campaign that you've got going in the story arc.
Yeah, this is a good level or two worth of their time that I had not planned for that happening. So once it did occur, I was like, all right, well, these are the things that are going to have to react to that, or this town's getting obliterated. So it was a lot of jamming on the fly in a sense, but thankfully, they kicked the hornet's nest and I had a session to plan. But so they have the side quest. Well, if they fail the side quest, the scions aren't joining them, and that is like the artillery, of the fight,
right?
For this campaign, they're the wizarding force as far as this area is concerned, unless you're in a major city. And wizards aren't going to come save a town. They got
wizard things to do.
They got wizarding things to do. They're not epic heroes. They're wizards. And
they're not like scions that no one even knows.
They're eating cheese and drinking wine in the city. They're not going to come to the merchant circles.
So what you're saying is your scions are like the hicks and hillbillies of the Arcana
world? They actually live over in a tower. I mean, if a goblin horde comes to a town and destroys it, you can see the tower. It's tall, but you can see it from where the town's ruins would be.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're next on the list, is what they would figure as well. So they've got some altruism as well as
we need the flux capacitor.
We need this fixed so you can get this. So in either case, it's not like they're going to withhold it. Like, hey, pay us money or we're going to not help you. They can't. They literally can't help. So if they fail the side quest and don't get the thing for them, they can't join the fight, and that's going to make a lot more townspeople die. I think that's going to make, unless the PCs come up with something. So this is also this also walks into a battle. If you think about your quest arc as a series of events that happen in a war, then it starts to say, well, did you capture that hill? Did you take the guy's item that he was going to get to complete some other kind of crazy thing, the villain? Did you stop him from gaining this? Well, if you didn't, then he's going to be stronger the next time you see him, or he's going to be at the end of the campaign when he does his thing.
Yeah, because they've completely gone off the rails on what you had planned. So, but that other stuff is technically still going on, but they have to stop the fight of goblin invasion.
The initial minor bad guy, that was like their first like big thing. That was a minion of the.
Now he's going to be like a Valor.
Well, he's over in Azoria, wheeling and dealing and doing other stuff, waiting for them to complete the quest that he gave them. That could have been done a few weeks ago, but they still haven't done it. So they're going to have
a few weeks or a few sessions.
Weeks worth of time.
Okay.
So he's been waiting for them to show up for weeks now. So he has other plans. He's not in an inn with a little exclamation point above his head, waiting for you to complete the quest.
Are you sure? That's how it goes usually, isn't it?
I've seen it that way, but never played it that way. So he's off doing his other stuff. So they're going to have problems when they come to that city, because as far as he's concerned, they took his stuff and ran instead of doing what they're supposed to. So when they show up, he's going to make sure he gets the stuff he's supposed to have. So they're going to be seeing thieves in the alleyway rather than, oh, hey, just meet me at the inn and give me my stuff. So they've changed that arc as well.
So instead of exclamation marks, they get clubs.
Yep, they get clubs. Wielded above the heads.
Yeah, it looks a lot like a.
So at each point, I'm reacting to what the players are doing rather than railroading them through different side quests. They're kind of, I've got it's like, as a GM, I'm doing what I'm going to do. Are you going to stop me?
Well, let me ask you a question. Now, what is your player response to all this going on?
They react really well to different scenarios in ways that I assume they're going to, and then other times.
Well, I'm talking more specifically out of game.
Oh, out of game?
Are they like
they're
excited?
having a whole bunch
of
fun.
fun?
Oh yeah.
So even though they kind of messed things up and now they have to fix it, and they know they got this guy waiting for them and they're not doing what they're supposed to, they're not like crying in the corner or anything.
No, I don't give them any body language to show them that I'm like, oh, I expect you to do this.
Yeah.
They have no idea that this is not all my planned stuff.
Oh yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I was going to have the goblins attack the town no matter what.
Well, and okay, so
maybe
that's a really strong, solid point. Like, your players don't actually have to know that the side quest is a side quest. Like, they have a thing that they're doing and they stop over, because that's it's kind of more like how life works. Like, in my game, right now there's a storyline that's kind of centered around one of the characters who, like, he has something to resolve, but he never really gets around to resolving it. And it seems like every time he messes with it, he kind of makes it worse. Yeah. So, and the other players at this point, and the characters are looking, go, what? You don't even have a plan, do you? You don't even have any clue what you're doing, do you? It's like, well, I'm just going to and
there's a process. There's a process I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. So
you recently had something happen where you found somebody as your dwarf in Ted's campaign that you were looking for a while.
Yeah, we haven't resolved that.
I didn't even know about this guy, and you like beeline for him as soon as you realized who it was. And
we never got to that interrogation session.
Yeah, we never got to that. But that's like that's a component that you're bringing in from in their past. Now, had you not stopped him, he would have continued doing what he was doing. So maybe there would be some repercussions if he got away that time rather than you capturing babies. Yeah. So him capturing whoever or him destroying whatever, he had plans. So I said that's a major component, is have your players feel like, not like, oh, they lost the game in total just because they didn't do certain side quests, but there's going to be certain things like
you've changed the game.
They're not going to be hanging out at the inn if the entire town's destroyed in my game.
Yeah.
It's not ever going to be there again.
Right.
So, there's like that's a major consequence to failing several of the side quests.
But and part of that too is it's like real life. Like sometimes you hit a home run and sometimes you strike out. You don't always get to pick and choose, but you can enjoy those experiences no matter what. If you focus on the gameplay, it's instead of like the big meta stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to come up. I don't think your players are going to sure, if they suck all the time, yeah, it will. At that point, like, you might want to throw them an easy win here and there, but being disappointed sometimes or not getting things done the way they want it every once in a while, that's not a bad thing.
The way I look at it, when I'm prepping material or looking at what's happened in the game, every quest has a has a win-lose condition and things that will spurn off of it, either future quests or utter destruction of the party. So you should always be taking either mental notes or physical notes.
Physical notes. For me anyway, I just like to look back on it.
Oh, absolutely. To see what's going on. And the other side of that coin is you need to be aware that the world that you're playing in is alive. There isn't a guy sitting there with an exclamation point over his head waiting for PC interactivity. It's a world where things are going to happen whether the PCs are moving it forward or not. So therefore, if you have a villain who is sitting in the background, he is not just sitting there waiting for the party to approach him for a combat. I ran a Dresden Files game in the Mutants and Mastermind setting a while back, and for this particular game, I had a person who was kind of my co-DM, and we would literally run story back and forth with each other in between the games to say, okay, well, for this session, there's going to be 4 weeks that have passed. So the PCs told me they're doing X, Y, and Z. What are the villains doing? So we had 2 timelines working, and more often than not, the PCs would be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to go to work, and I'm not going to really look for any information. Whereas the villains were recruiting minions and trying to start troubles in all these different areas. And I realized that we were taking this game into a place that it's like, well, I don't know how the PCs are going to be able to counter all of this stuff going on unless something changes. So, I mean, the campaign, as many of our games have done over the years, it kind of wound up petering out. But, in a D&D world, the same kind of thing can take place. That villain that's sitting over there waiting for information, he's not going to just sit there and wait. He's going to be like, okay, well, while I'm waiting, what else can I do to further my goals?
Well, not only that, like your guys that would normally have the exclamation marks over top of their heads, they're going to be like, oh, well, you guys didn't solve my problem, so I have to find someone else to solve it. Mm-hmm. Like their problem's still there, so something's going to get done about it. Mm-hmm. Whether, the consequences is that NPC goes away and never seen from again, or he hires the other guys, and now all of a sudden, like you keep like maybe your players do keep dropping the ball, and they keep hearing about these other guys that pick it up. So it becomes like this whole thing. And like they can even run into them in the tavern, and they can swap stories, and it can be a whole thing, for role playing, and mm-hmm. Maybe they actually start to like them. They build relationships, and it's just like, this is just another group. Like, it's kind of doing the same thing. These guys are cool. At least they were here to fix it, even though we couldn't get to it. And then like several sessions down the road, like you find out one of them got off in an adventure, kind of doing the same thing you do, and it's like, oh wow, I could die. Aha moments.
So what do you think, Spencer? Did we help you out with the whole consequences situation?
Failure, success, hopefully.
If you guys out there have any other stories or tidbits that you want to share, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. While you're doing that, feel free to click like, share, subscribe.
Also join the conversation over on Reddit.
And you can hang out with us over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.